What's going on, Pokemoshpitbeta? This is GunMonkey696, and as you can see, I've got a TCGO match for you today. So this is a match I had with my ZPS TM deck. The deck revolves around using Zekrom as the early game and main attacker, using Tornadus as the secondary attacker, and also as your counter to fighting types, which aren't too common in the current format, but still a nice card to have in the deck. Patrisu is then used to accelerate energy. Shaman is used to move around the energy you just accelerated, and Mewtwo EX is used as your late game attacker and also your counter to opponent Mewtwo EXs. So this deck isn't seen too commonly nowadays, but it was very common last format, and I'm actually really liking it a lot more this format simply because of the stability that Mewtwo EX gives to the deck. Last format, this deck was very fast, but it had no real late game. If you could manage to take out the first two attackers and really just take out most of their energy with those first two pokes, they pretty much had not a very high chance of being able to do anything late game. However, Mewtwo charges up really fast with double colorless energy, and also can do a lot of damage early game, mid game, and late game. So that's why I like this deck a lot more in this format. It's just mostly because of Mewtwo EX. So as you can see, I didn't get the best starting hand. I had 3 Junipers and I had Juniper out that entire hand, which did mean that I'm going to be running a little bit low on draw supporters, but I think I run 10 draw supporters in this deck, so it wasn't too big a deal, but it's definitely not how you want to start off the match. However, the hand I get here is a lot better. It will allow me to get off a turn 2 Bolt Strike with Zekrom, which is not necessarily too good, but at the same time, it's not terrible. But I do believe actually I decided to attack with Tornadus instead of Zekrom, sorry. The reason I do that is because I can see my opponent building up the Terrakion on the bench, and I feel like the reason he probably would not have played down the Terrakion if he did not have a fighting energy in his hand. So I decided it'd probably be a better move for me to start attacking with Tornadus, because otherwise I knew that Zekrom would have been 1-hit KO'd the turn after this, and with him would have gone all the energy I had in play. So I do like that play a lot, and it really helps me to stay in the match early game, because that Drakion definitely threatened my team. So as you can see, my opponent is playing Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus deck, which is a much more common deck in the current format than the deck I'm playing. Played it a bit and I'm liking it a lot more lately, but at the start of the format I wasn't really too into it. He's playing Terrakion on the deck, which I don't like. That was one of the reasons why I was struggling using the deck, because I felt like it wasn't as fast as it needed to be. But if you take out the Terrakion text and some of the Shaman EXs and things that you really don't need in the deck, I found a lot more useful. So as you can see here, he decides he's going to catch out my Zekrom. Not the best play in my opinion, because I think it might have glitched there and only done a little bit less damage than it was supposed to, but at the same time, with that EV light on, he really wasn't going to be doing a very high amount of damage, and I can definitely kill him off here. As you saw, I did have the Skyro Bridge in my hand. I decided not to play that down because I know that Skyro Bridge definitely helps my opponent's deck out more than it helps my deck. Sky Bridge is a little bit of a more recent addition to this deck that I'm trying out and I'm really liking. However, my opponent's deck needs Sky Bridge. It's probably one of the most important cards in my opponent's deck. So it's definitely going to help him out more than it's going to help me out, and I decided to keep it in my hand because I know that Sky Bridge is going to be going up soon no matter what. So he is going to be able to start attacking with that Mewtwo EX. I'm not too worried because, as you see, I do have the 2 Jewel Balls in my hand. However, I do manage to flip tails, on both of them. That really sucks. It's just really unfortunate for me. If I really wanted to get 1 heads in each of them, or just overall get 2 heads, that would have allowed me to get a Shaman and also get a Mewtwo EX of my own, and that would have allowed me to retaliate with my own Mewtwo EX and KO his, which would have come very close to sealing me the match. And even if I didn't manage to get those the 2 heads that I needed, even 1 heads would definitely have helped me out there. But as you can see, I'm in a real the game turned around really fast against me. My Mewtwo X is just such a good card at the moment, and even our Mewtwo X with the single double colorless energy, it's a real threat to me. And at this point in the match, I start to draw really low on energy, which really sucks. I think I run 16 energy in this deck. and I'm just not drawing into any of it at the moment. I drew into another dual ball here, but I decided I'm not going to play it yet until I get some more energy, because I definitely don't feel like I'm going to manage to get the Mewtwo and the Shaman that I need from that dual ball. I don't think I'm going to get 2 heads from that, simply based on my prior luck. Might have been a slight misplay not to play it down, but I was really hoping that I'd draw into something better a little bit here to hopefully just help me out of this hole that I'm in at the moment. So he decides to get a catcher here, which will allow me to bring out my Zekrom. My opinion, not the best play, because it does allow me to, after he does a little bit of damage with his Mewtwo in this turn coming up, will allow me to kill off his Mewtwo here with my Zekrom, which does once again put me back in the prize lead. However, after that, as you can see, I pretty much got nowhere to go. So I don't really like killing off the Mewtwo here, but it was honestly my only chance. There was not much more I could do, and if I did not kill the Mewtwo here, he would just run through my team. But I know that I'm definitely in position for him to come in and get the revenge KO here. And that does mean that I'm pretty much going to be running with a Pachirisu and a Shaman until I can get some more things on the board. So I am the prize lead, but my opponent's bench is a lot more set up than mine, and his deck is running a little bit faster now that we're getting into the later game, and I'm not hitting any Mewtwo's. I do have that dual ball in my hand, but I definitely don't want to play down a Mewtwo too early. The way I like to run Mewtwo EX is I never ever play it down unless I know that I'm going to be able to attack that turn. So unless I have a DCE, or if I'm playing the same deck as my opponent, I have 2 grass energies in my hand and a cell will be in the active position. So as you can see here, he does have the Sky Bridge, which means I can go out into a free retreating Shaman, so that's not too big a deal for me. I don't need to play the energy down to retreat it, which is why I was saying I like a Sky Bridge in this deck. And I did manage to get 1 heads on this flip. So my opponent's Mewtwo is slightly set up there on the bench, and really all I need now is if I can manage to get into, I think, 4 energy with this, if I can somehow manage to draw into like a Pachirisu and lots of lightning energy, which is really not looking good for me. But if I can manage to do that, then I'd be in a much better position. I decide I'm going to catch out my opponent's Mewtwo, play the plus power down because I may as well, and I know that if it's in the discard pile, I can always junk arm for it if I really need it. And now right here, I'm just going for pretty much the Shaman and the Pachirisu both in the same hand, but I obviously don't manage to get them because there was not a high chance I was going to be able to get that in the first place. But I do decide to just attach 1 lightning energy to my Mewtwo here. I could have played the double colorless on Mewtwo, but if I played the double colorless on Mewtwo and my opponent had both a double colorless and a catcher in his hand, that would have been pretty much a good game. And the chances of him having those in his hand are much higher than him having something like an N. So I'm really hoping that my opponent doesn't have a catcher or just keeps Mewtwo in the active position here and doesn't realize that I have a DCE in my hand. So here he does play that DCE, as I was saying before. If he managed to catcher up my Mewtwo this turn, that would have been the KO for me, which definitely would have been bad. And now he also plays, oh, so he doesn't play the N, I'm sorry. He managed to junk and get a catcher. So as you saw, if I did play the DCE on Mewtwo that turn, that would have been game. And yeah, he does have the N as well. So this part here, this is really what killed me. At this point, as you can see, I've got no energy going for me at the moment. This hand that I drew into N was just really bad. I knew I could only get 3 cards at the moment, but what I have at the moment is just terrible. I do think I decided to junk him out for a switch, if I'm correct. Yeah, okay, so I get a switch with the junk arm, and I'm hopefully just going to try and stall. But at this point in the game, I'm not feeling too good. I know that if I get into another DCE here or something, I probably can take out that Tornadus in the active position. But luck really hasn't been going for me this match at all, so I'm definitely not feeling like it's going to work. So I decided that I did manage to get the energy that I need here, and that is going to allow me to KO the Tornadus, which is good. But at the same time, he's just looking a lot more developed in his the way his deck's running at the moment. I know that if he has a couple DCEs, not a couple DCEs, sorry, a couple grass energies in his hand at the moment, he can definitely come in with the with Mewtwo EX and kill me off. And once again, as you see here, I draw into a Mewtwo, which is definitely what I didn't need at the moment. I do manage to get the catcher, so as you can see, if I did manage to draw into a DCE and a catcher with this turn, I probably would have been able to win the match there, but the chances of that happening aren't great, so I decided to just catcher out his Mewtwo because there's no point leaving Smeagol in the active position and not doing any damage to him. With Smeagol in the active position, that does mean that he's going to be able to retreat for free, which will give him the upper hand, so that doesn't help me out at all. If I had an energy there, I could have attached it, and then I could have catch it out, so I just needed one more energy to KO one of the Celebies, but didn't draw into what I needed to the end of the game there, and he does manage to KO my Mewtwo, which will give him the very narrow 1-0. So I don't see a lot of losses posted up on here, but I don't think that anything wrong with losing. People obviously lose all the time, so I probably made some misplays there. Feel free to point them out to me if you want, but I hope you enjoyed the match anyway. Definitely come check out my channel if you like this. Leave a like on this video, and I hope you all have a good day, guys. See ya.